You are listening to the CADDle Call podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The CADDle Call podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the CADDle Call podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your lovely toned, dulcet speaking host, and with me is, as always, is my partner.
It's Rocco.
It's Rocco. See, no dulcet tones on Rocco, just dull Rocco. Telling you, man, more caffeine before we do the show. But because you didn't put in enough caffeine, you know what it means, Rocco. You know what I have to do to you now.
Oh, no.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time again for the engineering joke of the week. All right, so Rocco, did you hear about the engineer who installed a motor that was way too powerful in a moving stairway? Yeah, things escalated really quickly after that. Ha! The worse they are, the more I like them. It's just awful. What an awful joke, but I like it. See, made you laugh today. So, all right, what are we talking about? Oh, I know what we're talking about. Today we're talking about business analytics for the construction world. So business analytics, that's a big buzzword, right? Business analytics, business intelligence, Power BI, data modeling. It's all you hear people talk about in the business and financial world anymore. And what it is, it's the concept of taking all the raw data that you have lying about and using it to help you make better business decisions today, or even to predict, market changes and cost changes and issues before they happen to help prevent problems. You guys have even seen its impact in the sports world. All you guys out there, I'm sure everybody's seen Moneyball with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. It's all about analytics, right? And using data that's just lying around and organizing it into an intelligent decision-making tool. Look, if you don't have business analytics, right, then the A's don't show up in 11, American League championships over the last decade and a half. I mean, it had a huge impact on the organization and on baseball in general. And it's gone through all sports now. And look, I know what you guys are thinking, right? That's all well and good for those, good giant businesses and sports franchises. But what does that have to do with my small construction company? I know you guys don't have data analysts on staff to develop these systems, right? And you can't afford to hire them, even if you had any idea where to start working with something like that, right? Besides, right, where would you go to find all that data that you need for all of your construction jobs and put it all together into some crazy complex database? Well, lucky for you, Rocco and I are here to talk to you guys about, we'll call it Moneyball for the construction world, in which I just need to point out that I am Brad Pitt. I mean, Rocco, you look more like Johnny.
What?
Sorry. What? Nope. Sorry. I'm the Brad Pitt guy. Nope.
What?
I drew out the analogy. I get to be the good looking guy. Sorry.
Oh, my God. Where's your wife when I need her?
I don't say things like that when my wife can hear me. She'd mock me mercilessly. She'd point out that Brad Pitt actually has hair, for one. That's a whole other story. All right. So, Rocco, in terms of the construction world, right, is business analytics on most people's minds? Or do you find it something that we actually need to bring up when you're talking with the clients?
Well, sure. If you're an executive, it's always at the top of mind. I can honestly say that it's not a discussion that we have every day with folks, because they don't necessarily associate the technology that we work with to being able to put out the kind of business analytics that they need or look at. But that's why we're here to talk about this today, because we can help them with that information. And part of it's tied to this access to newer technology that's out there and that's even available within Procore.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I tell you what, let's start with the question of, where do I even start in the analytics world, right? Which is kind of the first thing people ask as soon as the topic comes up. And here's the truth, right? The truth is that you guys probably have all of the data that you need to be able to get an analytics system going right at your fingertips today. You guys already have everything you need. The truth of it is that modern software systems like, Microsoft's Power BI, which, the BI stands for Business Intelligence, by the way. These systems are available to all of us at a really affordable price. Honestly, they even give you guys, you can get free Power BI seats if you guys have a Microsoft 365 account. The free ones, those are for, they allow your executives and end users and so on to view and access the data. So to kind of a read-only thing, which is what most people need. But even the fully paid Power BI premium licenses for the people to develop and work with and build all of this data into a workable report, those are like $20 a month. It's nothing. So the key here isn't really the software though, right? It's really more about the data sources. And I know that you're all, when I say data sources and databases, you're thinking of like, powerful servers with high-end SQL and Access databases that require all kinds of special formatting and coding to make this happen. But the real power of systems like Power BI is that they will read from just about any system or any file that you have. All right, so let's put that into perspective. Think about what you have today. Do you have Excel files with your job costs just sitting on your desktop? All right. Do you have some Sales Monkey reports you got from some surveys? How about a SharePoint list that you guys have out on your online setup? How about you guys work with an accounting system like QuickBooks, or maybe you have a CRM system where you keep all your client data in it. Right? Power BI can take the data right from any of those sources and about 1,000 more of them, and parse it into easy to read and understand visuals, right? And that's the key with everything we talk about. It's about visual information, right? That you can host on a web page or an intranet, or you can print them out as reports and PowerPoints, whatever you need. At the end of the day, almost any modern software that you are using, right, can be a data source for business analytics. That includes things like, Bluebeam and CAD and Navisworks, right? The stuff you use every day. So, even if all you're going to do is extract the data from those programs into a CSV file, right? A standard, comma separated value Excel file, you can use that to have Power BI show you everything that you could ever want to know about your past projects and costs, right? And even the current ones, if you're, updating those. You think about it, right? You want to know, what time of year is your most productive? Power BI can tell you. All right. If you're interested in knowing, which of your subs are the least or the most likely to run over budget, so you can, who am I going to hire? It'll tell you. All right. Doesn't matter what it is you want to know. Business analytics can provide the answer in a graphic format, right? As a chart or a table or a map or a line graph, however you want to see it. Look, in the end, if you can think of a question, right, BI can show you the answer using the information that you just have sitting about in your company. Rocco, when people begin to see, I guess, what the output, right, for Power BI can be, what's the response? Is it something that they immediately, see the benefit of and the need for, or is it more of a, that's nice, I guess, kind of response? What do you get from folks?
No, I mean they're hugely impressed with it. The thing is that if you think of your average accounting system, right? I mean it's not easy to pull data out of these systems as much as they're pure accounting systems and supposed to be able to just spit out this information. It's and they're great. I mean, we use QuickBooks, right, as a small business, and it gives us great reports, but the level of information that you can get, like you're describing from Power BI. It's just at a different level, and it's much easier to pull that data. So it's about ease, and that's what people look for.
Yeah, and I think a good way to describe it, right, is the difference. It's accounting systems like QuickBooks and so on. They have massive amounts of data, but they'll just give it to you as a dump unless you spend hours formatting it, right? Versus analytics is real time parsing that data and presenting it to you in the way that you want it to answer your most important questions. I guess that's kind of the difference there. So, I chose to focus today's show on business analytics for the construction world specifically, because it is an area that we here at Zentech have just been seeing remarkable movement on over the last year or so. More and more construction firms are really seeing some of these tools and features out on the internet, and they're realizing that it's something that they can easily access and that it's going to have a real dramatic impact on their bottom lines in a really tight and competitive marketplace. When everyone in your company, right, from your supers and project managers up through senior executives, can just look at a screen and they can see the status, right, the schedule variances, the cost trends on every project, and it's being updated in very close to real time, right, without even having to learn a new software system or open a file, right? That's a huge benefit to these folks who are really, really busy, right? Field people, like supers, right? They can have those BI graphics automatically updating as they make changes on their schedule, right? So that means that everybody can see that instantly, right? So there's no need for, a weekly update meeting with the PM to tell them what's changed, right? The PMs, they can see all the costs and invoices coming in, right? And being paid out and what's, what money flow is happening on their jobs without having to go to the accounting and say, hey, I need my weekly report. And we have to have a meeting to go over the reports so I understand what this garbage is. Directors, right? They can see the cumulative results of all the schedules and costs and issues across every job in the company at once, right? So that they can resolve problems before they get out of control, right? And your executive staff, they can monitor budgets and construction draws, right? Along what are the key performance indicators, and they can monitor, which of their directors are under or overperforming, right? Who gets bonuses, who don't, just by keeping a BI dashboard open on their monitor, and you refresh it periodically. You can see this stuff happening in almost real time. And this is why we've seen such a huge jump in construction companies, right? Particularly in those small to mid-sized GCs who are really kind of jumping into this area with both feet. And it's the biggest shift in decision-making and workflow process that we have seen in decades. And I think that folks who aren't kind of riding that wave are going to get pretty quickly swept under. All right, so it's a really, really important aspect of the modern construction world. All right, I'm going to talk more about it, but let's take a break so we can hear from today's sponsor. And when we get back, I want to talk about a very specific way of getting the powered BI data that you guys are going to need from a tool that most of us already use, and that tool is Procore. All right, so we're going to talk about that when we get back. So stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more of the CADDle Call podcast. All right, Rocco, so we are sponsoring ourselves yet again today. What is it we want to talk about?
We're going to talk about me today, Jim.
No one wants to talk about you. Not even you.
Oh, fine. Let's talk about Zentech Tech Blocks.
Awesome. I like Zentech Tech Blocks. Zentech Tech Blocks are prepaid support hours that let you call on Zentech's experienced technical staff to address all your support questions, problems, help you with workflows and standards, really anything you need on the technology side. We're here to provide the support you need so that your most talented people aren't being dragged into helping everybody else in your company instead of working on the billable jobs that you need them focused on. All right. So Zentech Tech Blocks are available in multiple sizes. We sell them in 5-hour, 10-hour, 20-hour, and 40-hour prepaid support blocks. And if you're interested and you need that sort of help, Rocco, how do they reach out to us?
Yeah, hit up our website, zentechconsultants.net. Give us a ring, 866-824-4459, or even drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
All right, Zentech Tech Blocks, the vital support that your people need exactly at the moment that they need it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the CADDle Call podcast. We're talking about business analytics, and I promised everybody that in this half I was going to talk about how this ties into the Procore project management system. Now, look, I know not everybody listening, to the show uses Procore, though I think you guys probably should. And you can still do a lot with business intelligence data outside the Procore environment. But there are just an awful lot of people in this industry who use Procore every single day. So I kind of wanted to focus on how that ties into the business intelligence side of things. So let's start with the concept of what Procore is, right? It's a giant database that keeps track of all your construction costs and schedules and invoicing and fees and contracts and times and budgets, and it fully interacts with your financial system to get that data moving back and forth. All right. So did y'all get the important word I said there? It's a big database, right? Filled with your project information, right? Which is exactly what Power BI needs to do all the impressive and groovy things we're talking about here today. All right, so that's just perfect, right? And to make it even better, the people at Procore have developed a Power BI integration that runs right inside of Procore that will display all of the dashboards and reports and so on that you develop, right in the central project management location. So end users never actually leave Procore. They just work right in the environment they're already working in. Means you can build the most complex intelligent structures from literally any data field that exists in Procore. And anybody that you give permission to is able to access it just by clicking a link in the system that they work in all day, every day anyway. There's no new software to buy. There's no learning curve. They just click a link, just like on a web page, and Procore shows them how the job is doing in every conceivable aspect. And you can even use built-in sorting and filtering tools, right? Little drop downs to isolate things by job or by vendor or by subcontractor or by date ranges, right? Whatever controls you need them to have. So, look, everybody who's listening right now who uses Procore, I want you guys to just take a second and consider how much data you deal with inside that system on a typical project, right? It is staggering, right? It's just crazy how much data we deal with in the construction world. Now think about when you have a few dozen or a few hundred jobs in your Procore system. Trying to wrap your brain around that much information, right? Even if you know exactly where to go and how to retrieve it, it just isn't feasible. Right? Even the built-in Procore reporting system, it needs you to make hundreds of different selections and decisions and choices, right? And it comes with its own learning curve before you can even begin to pull the basic data that you need back out of that database. The Power BI interface eliminates all of that, right? The dashboards are built out once and they show exactly what you want, what you need, right? The way you need it displayed. And it does it all graphically, right? Which means charts and pictures and things that are easy to understand instead of endless, pages and pages of tables and numbers, right? So, Rocco, like I said, we've been doing just a crazy amount of business analytics work over the last year. How much of that is focused around integrating this right inside Procore?
Yeah. Hey, Jim, I before I answer that question, I didn't know where to interrupt you there, but I do have a question. So,
Sure.
So in terms of the analytics that you pull from Procore, is it just standard Procore that people can plug Power BI into, or do they need a special module?
No, I mean, in terms of, all you need is the base Power BI, like I said, which is like $20 a month. And it goes right into your standard Procore system. And it shows up actually on the main page. There's like a little section that says apps, and you just click on it and say, show me all the business analytics information. And there it is. So yeah, there's nothing extended that they really need to buy. There's nothing additional that has to go into it. It's really just enabling the system and the setup. I mean, you will have to, and I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes. You do need to have Procore, your Procore rep set it up for you. But no, there's no additional purchases or anything beyond having basic, business intelligence or the Power BI tool to build the reports.
Okay. Good. Yeah. So you were asking what kind of information do people look for? Or what?
Oh yeah, well, how many, in terms of like how many folks are doing it inside of Procore versus, just using like Power BI standalone and trying to, work with other systems, right? How much of our work has been around the Procore system and that integration?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot in there, and as folks are learning more and more about what Power BI is capable of doing, there's a lot of interest, because they don't even know that it's capable. So, wow, show me, So we're definitely seeing a lot of interest in this area.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I know that, because I deal with the Procore system, all my work tends to be in that Procore space when I'm doing this. So look, to be fair, right? You guys probably know, you listen. So Zentech is one of a very small handful of, certified Procore consultants in North America. And honestly, as far as I know, we're about the only ones who are really focusing on this type of business analytics. Could not get that word out. Focusing on that type of work right now. But it is our fastest growing business sector right now, right? And when I demo some of what we've done with the Power BI interface, right? Construction business owners and executives, they just lose their minds. Like, oh my God, I need this yesterday. It's everything they've kind of ever dreamed about from a management standpoint, and it's being rolled into the system that they've already spent so much time and money and effort implementing in Procore, right? So, when you're C-level suite people, right, when they can start at a screen that shows them, a map of the world with all their projects located on it, and then they can click to open or just hover over, the jobs with their mouse, and they get a snapshot of which jobs are late and which ones are over budget and which ones are the most profitable. That kind of information immediately in front of them, that's just a game changer, right? When every image that you can click on inside of these Procore reports with the Power BI, they can drill down deeper into the details about it, right? If they need to know the where, the why, the how that project got to where it is, right? It makes their job easier, and it lets them effectively manage and make better decisions based on accurate, up-to-date information. Without the need for spending dozens of hours wasted, right, in meetings and emails and phone calls every single week. The Procore Power BI reporting, it lets people make better decisions, right? Because they can tell at just a glance, right, which subcontractors are always late, right? Which ones are always over budget, right? Which ones have the most safety issues, or who is missing insurance information, and so on, just by looking, right? It lets you, identify KPIs, right? Those are your key performance indicators, for every person and company, event, or anything else, that is having a positive or a negative impact on your job, right? On your bids, on your company, on your staff, right? All of this data, and you don't need to build out, right? Like Rocco was asking before, entirely new softwares and systems, processes to get at it. The Procore Power BI interface does it all in place inside Procore with the data that you guys already have. You've already put this all in. So Rocco, what's the areas that most of our clients tend to focus on, right? When we get them started and we show them the the Procore Power BI integration, right? What's the kind of info that gets the most wow factor out of them?
It depends on the role that you're playing within the organization. I mean, if you're an executive, you're looking for, a certain level of information. If you're a manager, if you're a project manager, you're looking at it from a different angle. And so, the ability to be able to extract everything from how, the company is doing at a high level in different regions of the country, for example, or how an individual department is doing, or how individual projects are moving along, whether they're on budget, over budget. It's hugely impressive. So I see that it depends on what your role is, what your needs are. It's kind of varies.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, everybody wants to see what's important to them, But I think that the simple fact that it's all graphic in nature and that they don't have to do anything, the data is just there in a format that they can understand just by looking at the screen, that's huge.
Without having to again extract it from a big complicated accounting
platform. Exactly, right? Like I said, listen, you don't hear the cussing and yelling Rocco does whenever I have to have him do, QuickBooks reports for me. We don't want to go down that road. So, look, one of the things that I do want to point out is that Procore itself, they've done an absolutely marvelous job of making this integration with Power BI accessible to everybody, because Procore actually will give you, no cost, over 100, out of the box standard pre-formatted Power BI reports that you can just enable and work with, which is amazing, right? These are great to use. They function just as they are. And you guys can get them just by asking your Procore representative to give you access, right? Not a problem, right? I will say that, the setup and implementation of them does require someone with a good working knowledge of Power BI, but it's not insurmountable, right? If you got a solid tech person inside your own firm, you can usually give them a day or two to figure it out and get it up. But a lot of people will reach out to work with a consultant, like Zentech. May I recommend one? Just to help you kind of get those standard reports up and running for them, right? And we're always happy to help you out with that. The big thing I think that we do though is we spend a lot of our time helping, just helping people customize the reports to their own specific needs. Getting 100 reports for free, and they're really, really big and powerful reports. It's great, right? It has all kinds of charts and data pre-populated to read right out of standard Procore fields. But again, it comes down to the fact that it's way too much information to sort through and work with, right? You're going to want to pick and choose which data works for you, and then tweak it to label and show each item the way that you guys work in-house. Look, every construction company out there works with data differently, right? And a work order and a change order mean different things to different firms, right? Invoices and subcontractor payments and draws are handled very, very differently, even with firms who are doing the same type of work, right? Complete different structure as you move from company to company. And the whole purpose of an analytics system is customizing the data that you already have to display in the way that you need it, right? It's not to learn, not for you get to learn how a generic file is showing it, or to change your work processes to meet somebody else's naming and presentation standards, right? Which is what you're going to have to do if you try to stay with just those out of the box ones. It's about building it out to customize it to your specific needs and make it to where they work the way that you guys need it to work. So, all right. So look, guys, we're going to wrap it up here, but I will say that if you guys are interested in getting the Power BI features set up and working in Procore, allow me to humbly submit that you reach out to Rocco, kind of the Jonah Hill of our little Moneyball operation here at Zentech, and he'll help you get things going. I am Brad Pitt, and I'm far too important to take your call. I'm busy dating Angelina Jolie. So there's my fantasy world, dude.
Yeah,
all right.
exactly.
True fantasy. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here, and we'll catch you next time on the CADDle Call podcast. All right, everybody, today's CADDle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from y'all.